Hey everybody, this is Keri Wilmot from ToyQueen.com, and I am here today to share lots of tips on backpacks. So I'm partaking in a live event with a bunch of friends of mine. After now having moved to Texas, I was able to meet some great people in the blogging community. And so we all decided that today, throughout the course of the day, everybody would hop online at a different hour and share some, tips and tricks on how they prepare for back to school. So again, I'm Keri. I blog at toyqueen.com, and people might be wondering, like, how did you even get that name? First and foremost, I am an occupational therapist. I've been working with kids for like 16 or 17 years. So my full-time job is really to teach kids how to learn different skills and build up their strength and mobility. So a couple years after having met my husband, he decided that I worked with so many great toys and had some tips to share. Hey, Amy, that we should share that with the rest of the world. So that's how toyqueen.com was born, is really just to let parents know that as a therapist, what were some of the, toys and ideas of things that we were, using that could help their kids' development. So that was about 8 years ago, before I even had my son, who's now 6.5, he'll be 7. And in addition to blogging at Toy Queen and doing social media stuff online, I'm the toys expert at about.com. And I also use my OT background to consult as an expert for understood.org, which is a learning and attention website. So today I'm going to share some tips and tricks on backpacks. And so as an occupational therapist, backpacks are pretty kind of near and dear to my heart. And you might think, like, what does this OT have, anything to do with knowing about what a backpack is? But basically there was kind of an issue that was going on in the backpack world where OTs felt like we needed to get involved. I don't know if anybody that's watching may want to kind of speculate and put in the comments sort of what might have been leading to some of these difficulties where we would need to get involved, but it has to do with kids wearing their backpacks inappropriately and getting neck pain and shoulder pain. So as a parent, I think it's important that you want to always just make sure that your kids have a backpack that fits well and that is fitted to them. So if you're watching and you want to put in the comments too, let's just have a quick chat about backpacks. Anybody want to put in a brand of backpack that they like or that they've bought or that they think is a good value? Hey, Michelle. So we, last year, when Gavin went to kindergarten, we got a Hannah Anderson backpack, which has been a good one. LL Bean, Land's End, Pottery Barn, those tend to be some of the more popular backpack companies. They tend to be durable. They have good warranties. Oh, hey, Carrie. Jansport, right? That's another great brand, Amy. So those are some of the ones that I think tend to be kind of more of the popular ones that people tend to pick and choose for their warranties, their durability, and their fit. Again, we were talking a little bit about why we would need to properly fit a backpack. For kindergarten kids, I think we've all, if you've known a kindergarten student, they put on their backpacks and their backpack is like 3/4 of the size of their bodies. They head off to school in the morning and it's like all you see is backpack. You can't actually see the kid. So for little kids, we just want to make sure that their backpacks are not too big. I guess the issue that I was talking about mainly with backpacks not really fitting kids appropriately is more in that middle school, high school range. Again, causing shoulder and back injuries because it's pretty cool to fling your backpack over one shoulder and not necessarily put 2 arms in at the same time. And the other part, I think, depending upon the middle school or high school that your child goes to, there can sometimes be a big difference between one location to another. So kids are basically weighing down everything that they can, putting everything that they can in their backpacks to kind of haul them around all day long and try to, build in some of that social time while going from A to B. So I think, it's definitely important to make sure that your kids' backpacks fit and make sure if there's anything that you can do as a parent, even when your kids are really young, is just get them in the habit of wearing 2 of the straps at the same time and don't really allow them to kind of fling it over one shoulder and get in the habit of wearing it inappropriately. If you are, hi Julie, if you are wondering exactly what to do with your, how to fix your backpack, so this is kind of the backpack strap. So this is the front part, and this is the back part. So it's really simple, and most people probably already are aware of this, but there's a little clip at the bottom, and you just want to make sure that it's not too big, and you want to pull it really tight, or that it's fitted to the kid. I tend to want to put the backpack on the child and then pull the straps pretty tight so it's fitted to them. And again, you want to make sure that they're wearing it evenly on both sides. So Amy's asking, how tight should the straps be? You don't want it to be too tight. You want it to be comfortable. What you really want to avoid is that it's so loose that it's basically, and you'll know, it's hanging off their back and kind of weighing them down. If you want them to be able to kind of stand up tall and look like they're wearing their backpack securely on their back, and that it's pretty even. Some even have those like waistbands that go around their waist. That might be a little bit too much. Some of the hiking backpacks, a lot of kids also, I don't know if they'll think that's cool or not, most likely not. But they definitely can offer some more stability. And Keri was mentioning too before, middle school kids, she's a teacher in the middle school, most have backpacks and duffel bags for after school activities. So right, and that's some of the reason it's not just the books they're shoving in their gym, you know, their tennis shoes or sneakers, who knows, extra snacks, whatever they need to be at school all day long. So I think that's pretty much why you would want to properly fit the backpack. So that's my OT spiel. And so kind of now sort of for the fun part is, and this is mainly, I guess, more for younger kids, but I think, you know, it is important to help kids accessorize their backpack. And you might think I'm crazy, like, oh, do I really need to buy more toys for my backpack? Like, you know, feel free to weigh in the comments at the bottom if you think that's a good idea or a bad idea. You know, but I definitely think that especially if you're choosing to, you know, pick one of these familiar backpack companies, odds are, hi Gina, there are a lot of other kids probably with the same backpack as your child, because we're all moms that do our homework and we want to make sure we buy the best backpack. And so odds are there's a lot of kids that have the same backpack. So if there's any advice I would say to accessorize, find something about that backpack that you can do to help your kids pick out their backpack, whether you put a monogram on the back or whether you put their name on the front. There are ways for them to be able to kind of pick it out in a sea of other backpacks. I've gone to pick up, hi Gina, my son after school, and it's like, you know, where is your backpack? And for little kids, I think they tend to gravitate more towards those toys and those things that they do have a personal connection with. It might just make them a little bit more independent, give them kind of their own sense of style. You know, and I always didn't necessarily think about this whole toy idea either. Usually I'm like, no toys at school, don't bring anything in your backpack. It's not a good idea. You're going to get in trouble. You know, and I have worked in school systems for a long time. So I know that there are teachers who are like, probably don't have very good choice words for me if I'm sending in a toy in my kid's backpack. But if there is ever a good reason, last year, I'll tell you a quick story. Before we get into some of these toys that you can use to accessorize, I sent my son to school, and he was supposed to bring in a toy for whatever it was. It was some end of the school year thing, and I totally forgot. And I remembered halfway through the day and went to pick him up and thought, he's gonna like lose it. He probably had the worst day ever because I forgot to pack the thing that he needed. And he hopped in the car and I'm like, how was your day, bud? And he's like, it was great. And I'm like, oh, you know, did you have your toy or your stuffed toy for class? He's like, no, Mom, but it wasn't a big deal. And I'm like, why is that? He's like, because I had these on my backpack. So it wasn't a problem. My teacher just said I could use that as my toy. So it wasn't a big deal. I figured it out. I've solved my problem. And I was like, huh. Who would have thought? I was actually pretty proud of him for being resourceful. But there are, and Amy's saying that they've made some fun keychains out of clay. You can certainly, you don't have to go to the store and buy, you know, something that has a clip or that's, you know, marketed to be something special. I mean, there are dozens of kits available, whether it's, you know, jewelry making kits or iron-on patches or pins. There's all sorts of fine motor activities that kids can do by weaving, like almost like not like a thread, but like, you know, something that they can use to kind of basically create their own item that they put on a keychain and then attach to their backpack. These guys are pretty popular. I think my mom got him these for, it looks like Christmas and Halloween, but these are the TY Beanie Boos. So those ones, I actually don't even always have him clip them on the outside. I tend to kind of just let him leave one in the pocket on the front. Hi, Kim. I'm glad you could join us. One thing this year that is really popular are the idea of emojis. So these are some plushy pals from Fun to Play Toys, and who would not want to have a poop emoji on their backpack, right? Seriously? Because you can have the poop emoji. Or if you don't want the poop emoji, then join in the fun with the vomiting emoji. But I'm kind of being silly here, but these are pretty popular with kids. They have their little clip that goes on the top, but there's all sorts of cute ways for kids to kind of, I guess, use their personality and infuse their style into their backpack too, which is kind of fun. Trying to think of what else here. Kim said her son is all over the new emojis he got at McDonald's. Yeah, emojis are huge. The poop one, any boy, I guess, or most kids, if they can talk about poop and vomit, is kind of the highlight of their day. We tend to go to the Lego store a little bit. Oh, I have one here. And they do sell, this is the Red Ninja from the Lego store, but the Lego in the store or online or whatnot, there's all sorts of different kind of like Lego minifigures that kids can use to kind of attach to their backpacks too, as like a keychain or whatnot. Hi, Kelly. I found the blue ninja, except for that he's missing an arm. But whatever, he can go back on the backpack this year, armless and all. The other idea of something that you can attach, this guy kind of lost his attachment, I cut it off by accident, is something called a Whiffer Sniffer. So this is a Whiffer Sniffer. So this would actually attach to a backpack too by a keychain. It's a cute little cupcake. They come in all sorts of different, like there's like a tangerine one, there's a blueberry one, but they smell. So I wish I could waft smell through my phone to you and see it on the other side, or you could smell it on the other side, but this smells like a cupcake. Now there are some that definitely kind of smell that are not my favorite smell. But what we found was kind of fun with this little Whiffer Sniffer is I tucked it inside Gavin's sports backpack. And that way, his stinky, dirty feet from his cleats and his socks were not smelling up his bag, because we used it almost as like a, Michelle's like, wow, that's awesome. Facebook Live smell. I know, right? So we basically, there's different kinds that you could either keep on the outside of a backpack, put them on the inside of a backpack, but they may take away some of those odors that tend to come along with kids in backpacks. And so again, those are Whiffer Sniffers. I think that's pretty much like all I specifically, Keri saying put one in the hockey bag. I was actually just thinking about that the other day, because he started playing hockey again. And every time you open it up, it's like being knocked over by a train. It stinks. So I was actually just thinking we needed to get another one for his hockey bag. That's pretty much all I had planned. Again, in terms of kind of what you can do to accessorize, I guess the sky's the limit. I really do feel like, I don't think you have to go overboard. Just make sure your kids are wearing their backpacks correctly, 2 straps over the shoulder, tighten the straps to make sure that they fit properly. When they're young, just kind of build in that idea of just, this is just how you wear a backpack. To me, it's no different than putting a helmet on when you go to ride a bike. It's just kind of for their safety long term. And then, I'd love to hear on Facebook or whatnot, other ideas that people have. Okay, Michelle's asking, what are the best backpacks for preschoolers? So preschoolers are tough because that's exactly what I was saying before. You have this huge backpack and this little itty bitty kid. We ended up, I have it right here actually, using a backpack when Gavin was in preschool. It doesn't look like a traditional backpack. It's from Trunky. This one is like, I think it's like a little lobster. So it has these cute little straps on the back, a little spot over here for their headphones and their earphones. It doesn't zip up like a traditional backpack. It unclips and then it rolls open. So this is actually designed to be more of like a pool bag. It's a wet bag. You can put wet things in it and it won't leak through on the other side. So this was this one's a little small. They do make the next size up, which was like a whale, and that was the same backpack that Gavin used when he was in preschool. It's enough to fit like a lunch bag, you know, and whatever arts and crafts thing they bring. Kindergarten's a little bit harder because I feel like they come back and forth with their binders and their folders. So you need something like this is, you know, a little bit more narrow than it is wide, which makes it a great size for little kids. But it doesn't necessarily fit things like folders that teachers would want them to be able to fit in. They do make like Pottery Barn and some of these other companies like LL Bean and Land's End too also do make a preschool size backpack. Not that you want to go buying a backpack every single year, maybe if you don't have to, but when they're that little, I think those are some really good options for little kids. Anybody else have any questions, thoughts? You want to see the poop emoji again? Okay, so if nobody else has any questions, I think that's all I have to share. Please go online, look on Facebook. My friends earlier today, Amy from Mainly Homemade, Gina from Ginger Casa, Michelle from Modern Mom Life, Julie from Coco and Julie from Coco and Coco. Sorry, Julie. It's a mouthful. And then after me is Becky from who is the Java Mama. Everybody's kind of sharing different tips and tricks of what they are doing to celebrate kind of going back to school. There's recipes, there's teacher gifts, there's countdown calendars, there's items to put in your kids' lunch. So definitely get on, check out their Facebook pages. They were live earlier today, but all of these links and videos are part of their page. So please go through and like the pages, watch the videos, comment. I guess that's it. So, and again, I'm Keri from ToyQueen.com. I am Toy Queen on Facebook, Keri_Wilmot on Instagram, and Toy Queen on Twitter. So if you happen to be, and Toy Queen on YouTube. So if you happen to be on any of those other platforms, please like, subscribe, and share. It was great to meet you. Have a great day.